This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Thursday, December 26th, 2024. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
The trial of a man accused of attempting to assassinate President-elect Donald Trump earlier this year has been delayed. I'm Shelley Adler.
Christmas for some Ukrainians bring a barrage of attacks. I'm Clayton Neville.
The NYPD says a man is under arrest for slashing two people on Christmas Eve at Grand Central Station in Manhattan. Julie Walker, New York.
Officials say a plane traveling from the capital of Azerbaijan to the Russian city of Grozny crashed while trying to make an emergency landing in Kazakhstan. I'm Donna Warder.
Hamas accused Israel of introducing new conditions related to the withdrawal from Gaza, the release of Palestinian prisoners, and the return of displaced people. I'm Rika Ann Garcia.
All ahead on America in the Morning. President Biden marked his last Christmas in the Oval Office by calling for peace and unity among the American people. In a video message posted on social media, he said the holiday brings everyone together.
So my hope this Christmas season is that we take a few moments of quiet reflection, find that stillness in the heart of Christmas, and look at each other as who we really are, fellow Americans. Fellow human beings worthy of being treated with dignity and respect, because there's so much that unites us as Americans, so much more that unites us than divides us.
President-elect Trump took to his Truth Social account, where he wished everyone a Merry Christmas alongside a photo of himself with his wife Melania. Later in the day, he issued a lengthier Christmas message where he claimed Chinese soldiers were operating the Panama Canal, criticized Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and told the 37 death row inmates pardoned by Biden to go to hell. Trump finished the post by saying, "In 26 days, we will make America great again. Merry Christmas." The trial of the man accused of attempting to assassinate Donald Trump as he golfed at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida has been delayed. Correspondent Shelley Adler reports.
A federal judge ruled that Ryan Muth's trial will begin September 8th instead of the previously scheduled February 10th, 2025 start date. The 58-year-old Hawaii resident has pleaded not guilty. Prosecutors say Ruth methodically plotted to kill Trump for weeks before aiming a rifle through the shrubbery as Trump played golf this past September at his West Palm Beach Country Club. Before Trump came into view, Ruth was spotted by a Secret Service agent. Ruth allegedly aimed his rifle at the agent, who opened fire, causing Ruth to drop his weapon and flee without firing a shot. Prosecutors say he left behind a note describing his intentions. I'm Shelley Adler.
Christmas Day in Ukraine brought an attack by Russia in the continued war between the two countries. Correspondent Clayton Neville has an update.
Ahead of Christmas, with a youth choir behind him and a historic church in the background, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky delivered a holiday-time message to his country.
Так звучить диво. Так звучить життя. Так звучить Різдво.
Hours later, air raid alerts sounded in Kyiv, and residents took shelter there. People in Kharkiv were told to stay inside. Ukraine's Air Force says it detected 184 missiles and drones. They shot down about 60 missiles and more than 50 drones. Another 52 didn't reach their targets. Zelensky called the attack inhumane and said the Christmas Day timing was a conscious decision. Russia reportedly confirmed the attack, saying, quote, "The goal was achieved." I'm Clayton Neville.
When we return on America in the Morning, more New York subway violence after these messages. This is America in the Morning with today's national forecast. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
As we continue through this holiday week, we are looking at more showers and thunderstorms through the southern plains, the main focus of which will be through eastern Texas into eastern Oklahoma, and then continuing into Arkansas and Louisiana. There can be some flash flooding, damaging winds, hail, and even a tornado with some of these storms. Rain will continue to develop farther north through north central Oklahoma into Kansas and Missouri, especially this afternoon. And then drizzle and fog will develop through northern Missouri into Iowa, Illinois, southern Minnesota, Wisconsin, some of which can be freezing in the northern areas this morning. Fog and icing could lead to a slow morning commute. In the northwest, the parade of storms will continue for Washington southward to northern California. The steadiest rain will be this morning along the coast, then become lighter in the afternoon as this particular system moves inland. But another round of heavier rain will arrive along the coast quickly this evening. These systems will continue to cause local flooding as well as heavy mountain snow through the Cascades and then continuing eastward through the northern Rockies into the Wasatch and Utah. Snow in these areas could amount to more than a foot. Meanwhile, the area between these systems from the southwest into the central Rockies into eastern Montana and the Dakotas will have largely dry weather today. Sunshine will be breaking through in most areas. Highs in the Plain States will range from the 30s in the north to 50s to the south, which is just about 5 to 15 degrees above the historical average. It will also remain fairly quiet in the eastern states. That's the weather across America. It'll be a cloudy day in Fort Smith, Arkansas, with some showers and heavy gusty thunderstorms, high up to 59. In Portland, Oregon, there'll be a steadier rain to start with lighter rain in the afternoon and a high of 52. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. I'm John Trout. U.S. officials and religious leaders gathered in front of the White House last night for the National Menorah Lighting to mark the first day of Hanukkah. U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas was the honorary speaker at the event and said that there is a yearning to build on the values of Judaism in the face of conflict.
We see it in a post-October 7 surge in synagogue attendance, Jewish learning, and communal connection. We can lean into our shared tradition and values as a beacon for what we aspire to. This Hanukkah, let us rededicate ourselves to the light that defines us and the better world we seek to build. On behalf of the President, Dr. Biden, Vice President Harris, and the Second Gentleman, I wish you all a happy Hanukkah.
Yesterday marked only the fifth time since 1900 that the start of Hanukkah and Christmas fell on the same day. More violence reported on the New York City subway Christmas Day. Correspondent Julie Walker reports.
The NYPD says a man is under arrest for slashing two people on Christmas Eve at Grand Central Station in Manhattan, charged with assault. A 26-year-old female was slashed in the neck, a 42-year-old male in the wrist, both in stable condition, according to police, who say it started in the stairs leading to the train. Meanwhile, Sebastian Zepeda, the man charged with lighting a woman on fire on Sunday on the subway, remains behind bars following his Tuesday arraignment for murder, where prosecutors said he not only lit her on fire, he fanned the flames with a shirt, and it was all caught on video. Immigration officials say the 33-year-old came into the country illegally from Guatemala. The medical examiner is still working to identify the woman. Julie Walker, New York.
At least 38 people have died after a plane crashed while attempting to make an emergency landing in Kazakhstan. With the latest update, here's correspondent Donna Warder.
Officials say a plane traveling from the capital of Azerbaijan to the Russian city of Grozny crashed while trying to make an emergency landing in Kazakhstan, with 67 passengers and crew on board. Officials say there were at least 32 survivors. One Russian news agency quotes Russia's Civil Aviation Authority as saying the pilot had chosen to make an emergency landing in Kazakhstan after a bird strike. Another Russian news agency says both pilots were killed. Cell phone footage appears to show the aircraft making a steep descent before smashing into the ground in a fireball. Some video on social media shows survivors dragging fellow passengers away from the wreckage. Kazakhstani officials say those on board are from Azerbaijan, Russia, Kazakhstan, and Kyrgyzstan. I'm Donna Warder.
Housing market trends. When America in the Morning continues after these messages. Welcome back. Thanks for listening. You're with America in the Morning. Here's CNBC's Peter Schacht with Thursday Business.
Although some might say investors and market watchers are overly obsessed with round numbers, this one could be considered impressive and at the very least will be a first. Apple stock is just a few dollars a share away from giving the company a total market value of $4 trillion, the first to do so. Back in 2018, Apple was the first to surpass $1 trillion. Not surprisingly, the very small trillion-dollar club is dominated by tech giants, including Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Nvidia, and Meta Platforms. All of which makes sense to Ray Wang, principal analyst at Constellation Research.
These tech giants have been able to move and manipulate as every market change has occurred, whether it was cloud or whether it was going to mobile or whether it was going to the digital transformation and now AI. And it's because they've got the capital to invest to be able to survive. And that's why these digital giants are actually continuing to win in the marketplace, because they reinvest their capital.
Netflix is not a $1 trillion stock, but the company has had a very good 2024 and will have the second of two significant events today. Yesterday, NFL football debuted on the streaming service with 2 games, and today the long-anticipated Season 2 of its hit series Squid Game will become available. The stock market staged a rally in Tuesday's shortened trading session and seems to have shaken off last week's disappointment, which came after the Fed signaled that fewer interest rate cuts would be coming next year than had been previously anticipated. But now may be the time to turn cautious, according to Morgan Stanley's Lisa Shallett.
Valuations are extraordinarily high, and it's just not prudent from a fiduciary perspective for strategists to be throwing out there that we're going to get a third year in a row of double-digit returns.
Meanwhile, interest rate blues continue to weigh on the housing market.
The affordability index is probably about almost 25% above trend line for existing homes and about 10 to 15% above for new homes. So I think today it's really troubling for the entry-level buyer. We are seeing more resilience for the higher move-up segment, especially those that are able to use cash. But it's a challenging market.
That's Ivy Zellman, Executive Vice President of housing industry research firm Zellman & Associates. Last week, Freddie Mac reported an average 30-year mortgage rate of 6.72%. A fresh report on mortgage rates will be out later today. Also on today's watch list, the Labor Department's latest weekly look at first-time claims for jobless benefits in an otherwise very light post-holiday economic and earnings calendar. And as you sip your morning coffee, you may want to watch the price of your Morning Joe. Wholesale coffee prices remain near record highs thanks to weather-related supply issues in coffee-growing countries like Brazil, Colombia, and Vietnam.
CNBC's Peter Schacht. As the conflict in Gaza continues, Israel and Hamas are accusing each other of complicating ceasefire talks. Correspondent Rika Ann Garcia reports.
Hamas accused Israel of introducing new conditions related to the withdrawal from Gaza, the release of Palestinian prisoners, and the return of displaced people. Israel's government, on the other hand, said Hamas was backing out on agreements that had already been reached and accused it of creating difficulties. On the ground, Israeli forces remain in control of Gaza's security. In a video released by the IDF, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz stated that buffer zones would be created to protect Israeli communities and emphasized their goal of establishing these zones for enhanced security. With all this, we will work to achieve the 2 goals of the war, to release all the hostages home and to defeat Hamas. Israel's ground invasion has caused widespread destruction. Hundreds of thousands are packed into tent camps along the coast as the cold, wet winter sets in. I'm Rika Ann Garcia.
AI producing misleading reviews. We'll have that when America in the Morning continues after these messages. Back with you now. This is America in the Morning. Best estimates show that over 2 million online reviews are bogus. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer explains how to look out for misleading reviews on products generated by artificial intelligence.
The emergence of generative artificial intelligence tools that allow people to efficiently produce detailed online reviews has put merchants, service providers, and consumers in uncharted territory. Phony reviews have long plagued many popular consumer websites, but now AI-infused text generation tools enable fraudsters to produce reviews faster and in greater volume. The deceptive practice is illegal in the U.S. Consumers can try to spot fake reviews by watching out for a few possible warning signs, such as overly enthusiastic or negative reviews. AI reviews are typically longer, highly structured, and include cliches like the first thing that struck me and game changer. Reviews that repeat a product's name or model number is another potential giveaway. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
America in the Morning for Thursday, December 26th, 2024 is produced by Alexander Hinton. Our senior producer is Kevin Delaney. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
President Biden and President-elect Trump share very different Christmas messages on social media. I'm John Stolnis in Washington.
A trial date pushed back for the would-be assassin of President-elect Donald Trump. I'm Clayton Neville.
Ukrainian officials say Russia launched a massive missile barrage targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure. I'm Julie Walker.
Beware that holiday job offer might just be a scam. I'm tech correspondent Chuck Palm.
What were the biggest booms and busts at the box office in 2024? I'm Kevin Carr.
Back after these messages. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
President Biden and President-elect Trump share very different Christmas messages on social media. I'm John Stolnis in Washington.
A trial date pushed back for the would-be assassin of President-elect Donald Trump. I'm Clayton Neville.
Ukrainian officials say Russia launched a massive missile barrage targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure. I'm Julie Walker.
Beware that holiday job offer might just be a scam. I'm tech correspondent Chuck Palm.
What were the biggest booms and busts at the box office in 2024? I'm Kevin Carr.
Back after these messages. Welcome back to America in the Morning. Another busy travel day. Let's get a check on weather. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
In the northwest, the stream of storms continues for Washington southward to Northern California. Rain will be steadiest this morning along the coast and then become lighter as the storm moves inland this afternoon. But another round of rain from another system will be moving in quickly this evening with a heavier rain developing. These systems will continue to cause localized flooding as well as heavy mountain snow through the Cascades and then continuing into the northern Rockies into the Wasatch in Utah. Snow in these areas could amount to more than a foot. Another storm in the southern plains will produce showers and thunderstorms today into tonight. The main focus of these storms will be through eastern Texas into Oklahoma and then continuing into Arkansas and Louisiana. There can be some flash flooding, damaging winds, hail, and even a tornado with some of these storms. Rain will continue to develop farther north into north central Oklahoma, into Kansas and Missouri, especially this afternoon. And then drizzle and fog will persist through the northern parts of Missouri into Iowa, Illinois, southern Minnesota, and Wisconsin. There could even be some freezing drizzle to start the day in areas to the north, and this fog and icing could lead to a slow morning commute. Meanwhile, the areas in between these systems, from the southwest into the central Rockies and eastern Montana and the Dakotas, will largely have dry weather today with sunshine breaking out in most areas. Highs in the Plains states will range from the 30s in the north to the 50s in the south, which is about 5 to 15 degrees above the historical average. It will also remain fairly quiet across the eastern states with high pressure holding over much of the area. There will be some showers along the coast from North Carolina through Florida, but highs will be mostly near their historical average. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
You can follow us wherever you get your podcasts: Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. I'm John Trout. On Christmas, both President Biden and President-elect Trump took to social media to share two very different messages with their followers. John Stolnis has details from Washington.
On his official POTUS X account, the president acknowledged this is his last Christmas as commander-in-chief, saying, quote, "For the last time as your president, it is my honor to wish all of America a very Merry Christmas." He went on to say, quote, "My hope for our nation today and always is that we continue to seek the light of liberty and love, kindness and compassion, dignity and decency," finishing with, "May God bless you all." Biden also wished his Jewish followers a happy Hanukkah and showed a picture in another post of he and First Lady Jill Biden thanking service members around the world for being away from home during the holidays. Meanwhile, on his Truth Social account, Trump's Christmas message focused on an array of political issues. First, on the Panama Canal, Trump said, quote, "Merry Christmas to all, including the wonderful soldiers of China, who are lovingly but illegally operating the Panama Canal." Trump went on to say China was making certain the U.S. puts billions of dollars into the canal for repairs with no say on how it runs. He also mentioned Justin Trudeau of Canada, saying, quote, "To Governor Justin Trudeau of Canada, whose citizens' taxes are far too high. But if Canada was to become our 51st state, their taxes would be cut by more than 60%. He also promised the nation of Greenland the U.S. would back their national security needs and wished Merry Christmas to what he calls radical left lunatics who are always going after him. He mentioned Biden's decision to commute the death sentences of 37 death row inmates this week, saying, quote, "I refuse to wish a Merry Christmas to those lucky, quote, souls, but instead will say, go to hell." He finished his posts by saying, "Make America great again. Merry Christmas." John Stolnis, Washington.
There's a development surrounding a federal trial for the man accused of trying to assassinate President-elect Trump before the November election. Correspondent Clayton Neville explains.
It would have been the second attempt on President-elect Donald Trump's life. Prosecutors say that Ryan Ruth methodically plotted to kill Trump for weeks before aiming a rifle through the shrubbery as Trump played golf on September 15th at his West Palm Beach country club. Now, before Trump came into view, Ruth was spotted by a Secret Service agent. It spooked him. He ran away and was eventually arrested on a nearby road.
His other criminal conduct rises to the level of domestic terrorism. It turns his actions into an attempted felony murder case.
That's Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody describing how Ryan Ruth was eventually caught.
Once they located him, protecting the public, not knowing what was in that vehicle in terms of explosive devices, they had to stop traffic in both directions in order to effectuate the stop, make the arrest, and assure the safety of the public. It was during that stop that a tragic accident occurred that seriously injured a 6-year-old girl who was traveling with her family.
U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon said this week that Ruth's trial will begin September 8th of next year, that instead of February 10th. A significant pushback. Cannon said she wanted to err on the side of more time given the seriousness of the allegations, but she noted that starting the trial in December or later, as requested by Ruth's lawyers, would be an excessive amount. I'm Clayton Neville.
Russia launches a Christmas Day attack on Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Correspondent Julie Walker reports.
Ukrainian officials say Russia launched a massive missile barrage targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure, killing at least one person and disrupting heat for more than 100 on Christmas Day. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said over 70 missiles, including ballistic missiles and over 100 attack drones, were used to strike Ukraine's power sources. Zelensky calling the Christmas Day power attack inhumane. The country's energy minister said power operators leaders were taking the necessary measures to limit consumption. Meanwhile, Ukraine's biggest private energy company said Russia struck one of their thermal power plants, making it the 13th attack on Ukraine's power grid this year. I'm Julie Walker.
Among the stories we're covering next, pet food recall and job seekers beware. That and more when America in the Morning continues after these messages. America in the Morning continues. I'm John Trout. A taxi cab hit 6 pedestrians in Midtown Manhattan Christmas Day, causing 3 people, including a 9-year-old boy, to be hospitalized for their injuries. All were in stable condition. The other 3 people who were hit by the taxi refused medical attention. A New York Police Department spokesman said the taxi driver may have suffered a medical episode, but that the investigation had yet to confirm that. Airport workers in Maui made a grim discovery on a plane that arrived from Chicago. Correspondent Shelley Adler has that story.
Officials say Maui police are investigating the discovery of a dead body in a wheel well of a United Airlines plane after it landed in Maui. The body was found in the wheel well of one of the main landing gears on Flight 202, which arrived at the airport from Chicago on Tuesday. United Airlines said the wheel well of the Boeing 787-10 was only accessible from the outside of the aircraft, and it was unclear how or when the person accessed it. In an emailed statement, the Maui Police Department said it was, quote, actively investigating the discovery of the dead body. I'm Shelley Adler.
A pet food company is issuing a recall after its product tested positive for bird flu. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer has details.
Oregon authorities say a house cat died after eating raw frozen pet food. The indoor cat contracted the H5N1 virus known as bird flu. In response, Oregon-based pet food company Northwest Naturals has recalled 1 batch of its 2-pound feline turkey recipe raw frozen pet food. The company says the product was sold nationwide through distributors in a dozen states and in Canada's British Columbia. Oregon authorities say no human cases of bird flu have been linked to this incident, but that those who were in contact with the cat are being monitored for flu symptoms. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
An investigation is underway in Finland after an underwater power cable connecting the country with Estonia unexpectedly stopped working. Here's the latest on that situation from correspondent Haya Panjwani.
A power cable linking Finland and Estonia under the Baltic Sea suffered an outage. It prompted an investigation. That's according to a social media announcement from Finnish Prime Minister Petteri Orpo. He said the interruption would not affect electricity supplies in Finland. Estonian network operator Elering said there was enough spare capacity to meet power needs on the Estonian side. Authorities have been on edge about undersea infrastructure in the Baltic. 2 data cables, one running between Finland and Germany, the other between Lithuania and Sweden, were severed in November. I'm Haya Panjwani.
Pope Francis calls for peace in his annual Christmas Day message. Correspondent Rika Ann Garcia reports.
Pope Francis, in his traditional Christmas message, urged all people of all nations to find courage during this holy year to silence the sounds of arms and overcome divisions plaguing the world. The Pope invoked the holy door of St. Peter's Basilica, which he opened to launch the 2025 Jubilee as representing God's mercy. The Jubilee calls us to spiritual renewal and commits us to the transformation of our world so that this year may truly become a time of jubilation. In Bethlehem, hundreds gathered at the midnight Christmas Mass, where Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzabella was present, while the buzz of Israeli drones was heard outside. Pakistan's Karachi Christian community joined Mass across the city, with a church leader affirming their freedom and security. Meanwhile, in Syria, scores of Christian worshippers celebrated Christmas Mass in downtown Damascus at the Cross Church. The Mass came a day after a Christmas tree was set on fire in Hama province in central Syria. I'm Enrica and Garcia.
Job seekers might want to use some extra caution in applying for seasonal jobs that seem too good to be true. Scammers are using legitimate-looking websites and tactics to lure in unsuspecting victims. With more on that in today's Tech Report, here's our Chuck Palm.
If you're looking for a job to pay off some holiday bills, be aware of fraud websites. Scammers are setting up websites to take advantage of seasonal opportunities in hiring for tech and part-time jobs. These fraudsters set up what appears to be a legitimate website to include SMS messaging, email phishing, and even Facebook and other social media pages. Sometimes they even mimic other legitimate operations and exploit urgency and trust by using fear tactics during high credit seasons and tax collections. On-the-spot offers, instant bonuses, and other luring tactics could raise red flags, so verify website URL addresses and phone numbers wherever possible. Be leery of anyone asking for your credit card to run credit checks or any kind of direct deposit requests, and if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Bitcoin down to 99,000 and Ethereum at 3,480. For more tech news, follow me on X at Chuck Palm.
With a look at sports, here's Robert Workman.
The next to the last week of the NFL season, Week 17, began with a holiday doubleheader yesterday. The Chiefs chewed up the Steelers 29-10. They wrap up the top seed in the AFC and a first-round bye for the fourth time in 7 years. Patrick Mahomes threw for 320 yards and 3 touchdowns.
We were able to get that win. That's a good football team, a playoff football team, and a great environment. And so getting that win, getting off your feet a little bit, but preparing for another good football team coming up, and then try to build that momentum into the playoffs.
Travis Kelce caught one of those to move ahead of Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez for the most receiving TDs in franchise history. In the late game, the Ravens romped over the Texans 31-2. Moving ahead of Pittsburgh for first place in the AFC North, Lamar Jackson made his case for a third MVP, including back-to-back, throwing for 2 touchdowns, running untouched for a 48-yard score, and breaking the NFL career rushing record for quarterbacks. He's just 27. Derrick Henry ran for 147 yards and a touchdown. He now owns Baltimore's single-season rushing record. Thursday night football takes no holiday. Tonight it's the Seahawks at the Bears. Seattle has to win out to keep their slim playoff hopes alive. College Bowl season resumes today with 3 games. The Game Above Sports Bowl in Detroit matches Pittsburgh versus Toledo. The Rate Bowl in Phoenix between Rutgers and Kansas State. And the 68 Ventures Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. Arkansas State against Bowling Green. The traditional NBA full court press on Christmas Day, 5 games, starting with the Knicks nipping the Spurs 117-114. That's their 5th straight win. Malik Bridges had a season-high 41 points.
We just getting stops and scoring and stuff and just hearing just the crowd and, the end of the game, Josh getting that rebound at the end. Just to hear the excitement of the crowd it's just roaring out there. It's crazy.
Timberwolves held off the Mavericks 105-99. They ran up a 28-point lead after Luka Doncic left with a calf strain. Then Minnesota watched Kyrie Irving lead a spirited comeback with 39 points, getting Dallas within 2 points in the final minute. 76ers stopped the Celtics 118-114. Tyrese Maxey had 33. Lakers outlasted the Warriors 115-113 on Austin Reeves' last-second layup. Steph Curry had 38 for Golden State. LeBron James 31 for LA in his record 19th Christmas Day game. And the Sun shaded the Nuggets in the late game 110-100. Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal each had 27 points. College basketball, the final of the Diamond Head Classic in Honolulu saw Nebraska surge past Oregon State. That's Thursday Sports.
Thank you, Robert. When America in the Morning returns, Mega Millions jackpot grows and box office flops after these messages. Welcome back. This is America in the Morning. The Mega Millions jackpot has surpassed $1 billion after no ticket matched all 6 numbers drawn on Christmas Eve. That means the estimated jackpot for Friday's drawing is $1.15 billion potentially the fifth largest jackpot in the game's history. Joshua Johnson, lead director for the Mega Millions Consortium, said in a statement, "We know that many people will likely receive tickets to Friday's drawing as holiday gifts, and what a gift that would turn out to be if you ended up with a ticket worth a $1.15 billion jackpot." Earlier this week, a New Jersey lottery player claimed a $1.13 billion Mega Millions jackpot from a March drawing. America in the Morning continues. A Minnesota woman is being credited with saving 2 injured owls on the same day. Correspondent Mike Hempen has the story.
This past Monday was a day Annabelle Whalen won't soon forget. First, she found an injured great gray owl on the ground in Two Harbors, Minnesota.
He had an eye injury, so I'm thinking that he probably hit whatever vehicle it was head on.
Whalen dropped the owl off at Wildwoods, a wildlife rehabilitation center in Duluth. Hours later, she rescued another owl from the grill of a car in Duluth, but Wildwoods was closed for the day. So Whalen wrapped the owl up in a blanket and crated her overnight in a dark, quiet room in her home.
We got a little dog crate together with some blankets in the bottom, and we kept her in a spare bedroom.
Whalen says she cried happy tears when she saw the owl moving and awake the next morning when she took it to Wildwoods. Helping 2 injured owls in one day?
It was a crazy day.
I'm Mike Hempen.
What were the biggest booms and busts at the box office this year? A look back with correspondent Kevin Carr.
2024 was a year of hits and misses at the box office.
Where are Riley's new emotions?
Disney made a comeback from 2023's disappointments. Huge sequels included Inside Out 2 and Moana 2.
What's up, girlie?
Maui?
Can I get a chee-hoo?
But it wasn't just the kiddie films. Deadpool and Wolverine offered a very R-rated hit for the Marvel multiverse.
Your little cinematic universe is about to change forever.
Other booms included Universal's Wicked and Warner Brothers' Beetlejuice.
I don't cause commotions, I am one.
Never seen that chick before in my life or afterlife.
Plus, indie horror films had some standouts with The Substance, Terrifier 3, and Longlegs.
I know you're not afraid of a little bit of dark.
Star Power of the Year goes to Glenn Powell. He started January with the carryover Anyone But You.
If you feel it,
Then he continued into the summer with Twisters in theaters and Hitman on Netflix. But not everything was a success.
Feel free to applaud.
Mega budgeted flops like Furiosa, Borderlands, and Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis failed to find wide audiences.
Hey, Fleck, you got a joke for us today?
But nothing hit the hardest as Joker Folie à Deux.
Let's give the people what they want.
Spoiler alert, they did not give the people what they wanted.
I don't understand what's happening.
Other major losses went to Sony's Spider-Man adjacent Madam Web and Kevin Costner's Western epic Horizon Chapter 1.
Looks like we got ourselves a bad man right here.
Better luck in 2025. I'm Kevin Carr.
That's our show for today, Thursday, December 26th, 2024. America in the Morning is produced by Alexander Hinton. Our senior producer, Kevin Delaney. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.